What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. It's Ars. Let's get productive. So 2022 is a wrap, and before we move into 2023, I think it's only right that we discuss all of the amazing, dope plugins that came out in 2022. Now, I know I'm a little late on this subject. It took me a little bit of time to get it together. Life, what you're gonna do. But this is going to be my top 10 best plugins of 2022. Now, a few things before we get into this top 10. I'm gonna do things a little bit differently than I usually do it. If you've been paying attention over the last couple of years, I usually have two different categories. So I'll usually do a top 10 of my favorite VSTs, and then I'll do a top 10 of my favorite effects plugins. In this list this year, I wanted to combine. So I wanted to do a top 10 just straight up best plugins of 2022. Another thing that I wanted to change is there is no ranking order. So this top 10 is not gonna be like from my least favorite to my number one favorite plugin. In this list, all of the plugins that I name in this list, in my opinion, are all contenders for number one. This is just a full list of what I feel is the best plugins that came out in 2022. So, get your notes ready, pay attention, because right now I'm gonna break down my favorites, my top 10 2022 best plugins of the year. Let's get right into it. Now, coming in at number 10, we're gonna talk about Pigments 4 by Arsiney. This synthesizer is still an incredible beast of a tool when it comes to sound design, when it comes to music production. This thing does it all. And there's so many tools built inside of this thing to allow you to take your sound to a whole new level and allow you to create sounds that don't even exist. So you can really just go crazy inside of this thing. Now, I mentioned it in my top 10 in previous years, and Arsiney has updated Pigments multiple times over the years. We're now at Pigments 4, so I wanted to dive into that because it's still an incredible tool, and it's something that I still use on a daily basis, whether it's just to create some kind of new texture or to just dive into it for sound design and create my own presets. I'm always looking at this synthesizer to just constantly expand what I can do creatively. Now, staying in the category of synthesizers, I wanted to bring a new synthesizer that came out near the end of 2022. It's called Tomofon by Clef Grand. Now, Tomofon is a real audio synthesizer, and what it does is it allows you to import your own audio files into this VST, and it will turn those audio files into different wave tables that you can then bend and stretch and create your own synth sounds out of that. It comes loaded up with a bunch of different presets that range from keys to bass to all kinds of different leads and just really great sounds that come loaded up inside of the synthesizer already. But like I said, you could drag and drop your own audio and really stretch the capabilities of what you can create with sound design. I love sound design, so I love VSTs that allow me to get really creative and take things to a whole new level. Coming in at number 8, I have Knock by Decap. Now, Knock is an incredibly powerful drum processing tool. This thing allows you to literally do what it says in the title, knock. It's going to make your drums knock. There's a bunch of different effects inside of this box that Decap put together that you can really kind of go for his sound in a lot of ways. Decap is an incredible producer. He puts out a lot of different sample packs that deal with drums, drum loops, and his drums always knock. They always slap and hit extra hard. So I feel like inside of this plugin, he included all of the tools that he uses to get that incredibly crunchy, ground-shattering knock out of his drums, but still tame it and make it work inside of your mix. Coming in at number 7 is a sample-based synthesizer called Signature 4. Now, I brought Signature to the channel and some of my other top videos where I talk about my favorite plugins and my favorite VSTs, but just like Pigments 4, Signature is up to the 4th iteration of their updated sample-based synthesizer, and it's a VST that is dedicated to getting you some incredibly creative presets in regards to the R&B and trap soul categories. And the presets in this thing are incredible. They have a list that ranges from bass sounds to keys to plucks to leads, and everything in each of those categories are extremely unique. And because these samples are based inside of a really comprehensive synthesizer, you can take all of these samples and really warp them and make them your own and create your own presets. There's also a bunch of different guitar loops and guitar samples inside of this thing. There's a chord generator inside of this thing. A bunch of really cool tools all beefed up and packed inside of this really dope VST. So make sure you check out Signature 4 by Producer R&B. Now coming in at number 6 is another new VST that came out near the end of 2022, but again, it's something that is quickly replacing a lot of VSTs within the same category in my workflow. It is a drum sampler and sequencer by Phil Spicer, and it's called The Pattern. Now, Phil put out another VST called The Instrument, and it was a VST that had a built-in chord generator and a built-in melody generator with a bunch of different sounds and presets inside of one VST, and it allowed you to get some really cool creative things out of that. But I gotta say, just keeping it real, I don't even use that as much as I use this. The Pattern, it's an incredible drum sequencer, and it comes loaded up with so many different drum patterns, so many different drum sounds, and it's a really easy to use tool. The drum sequencer is really comprehensive. It has some really great tools built inside of this thing to just really make the drum creating process really simple and really dope. And the drums that come loaded up inside of it are really dope as well. Also, the patterns that Phil Spicer has, I feel like he took a lot of what he did with The Instrument as far as, I'll say the algorithm of picking and choosing different categories and implemented it into The Pattern in what I consider a much better plugin altogether. Now, staying on the topic of drums, I have a plugin that I legit use in every single beat that I make. It comes from Cable Guys and Nick Romero, and it's called Kickstart. Now, Kickstart is a dedicated drum sidechain plugin. It will sidechain any sound that you put it on and duck that audio signal back so that those drums can pierce through the way you like. But there's also a lot of different settings built inside of this plugin that can really just create some really cool effects on whatever sound you use it on. So it's a really cool tool to really carve out sounds the way you need them to help your drums sit well in a mix, as well as to just add character to your synths and really take those to another level. So Nick Romero made a really dope plugin with Kickstart, and it's something that I definitely think you should check out. Now, coming in at number 4 is the incredible, heavily talked about, but for good reason, The God Particle by Jason Joshua and Cradle Audio. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when it first came out and I saw everyone talking about it and I saw the way everyone was talking about it, I wasn't 100% sold because it felt like a lot of hype. It's marketed as a mix bus processor, so it's kind of like a multi-effects plugin that's just made for your mix bus to just take your mix to that whole other level, give it that extra sheen, give it that extra punch, and just push it forward in the mastering process. Essentially what's happening with this thing is Jason Joshua kind of took everything that he puts into his mix bus and jam-packed it inside of one box so that you can get that incredibly polished sound out of one plugin without even having to load up your mix bus with a bunch of different plugins. And it's not an exaggeration. This thing is an incredible mix bus processor. It really adds authentic punch to your mix. It adds authentic sheen to your mix. It has a really dope limiter built inside of it. It really pushes your mix forward in the way it needs to be. And it's set up in a way that you can kind of mix through it. So you can kind of just put this on your mix bus and just start mixing and leveling things out in conjunction with the God particle and get a really dope sound right off the bat. So this is an incredible plugin to throw on your mix bus. It's gonna make everything sound good. One of my favorite VSTs that I've been using for a while now is the Kinetic VST by Virtual Waves. This thing is an incredibly dope synthesizer loaded with incredible sound design. The presets department is full of sounds from my trap producers, from my EDM producers, that is just gonna help you make some really incredible beats. But where this thing really shines is how many different settings you have inside of this VST to really help you make some extremely incredible sound design decisions. You can create some extremely dope presets and extremely dope sounds using this thing because there's multiple engines inside of this thing, so you can layer up sounds, and there's a lot of different effects to help you tweak the sound that you're going for. You can do a lot of incredible things with this. So Virtual Waves made a really dope plugin when they made Kinetic. You should definitely check it out. Ozone 10. Now, Ozone 10 is a mastering suite loaded with a bunch of different plugins to help you get that mastering sound. It's by iZotope. Now, iZotope is known for their incredible AI algorithmic technology that they put inside of a lot of their plugins that do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. And this is no different with Ozone 10. You get that same technology built inside of all of the plugins that come inside of the suite. There's a lot of different tools to help you finish your mix, a lot of different tools to help you finish your master, and you still get that AI technology that'll analyze your mix, analyze your master, make changes where it feels like you should make changes, leave notes for you so that you can learn as you go along and improve your mix moving forward based on the notes that it leaves for you. It's a really, really dope tool for the mastering process. iZotope Ozone 10, extremely, extremely dope. And last but not least, we have one of my favorite multi-effects plugins, or we should just call this one a multi-effects suite because it's loaded with some really incredible plugins inside of it to help you do everything from pitch bend to time shift to distortion. It's an all-around great multi-effects plugin, and it's called Shaperbox 3, and it's by Cable Guys. So this is the second plugin on the list that Cable Guys created. Cable Guys makes some really dope plugins, and this is no different. I had Shaperbox 2, and Shaperbox 3 just takes that to a whole nother level. It's loaded with a bunch of different effects inside of it to really add movement to your sound. Like I said, you have time, you have drive, noise, crush, liquid, filter, volume, pan, width. All of these things are different tools that you can dedicate to your sound to add different movement inside of your sound based inside of the category of whatever that effect is. So if you have time, it's going to allow you to time stretch and bend your sound in a lot of really cool, interesting ways. It's going to allow you to take drive and add distortion to your sound, and you can layer all of these effects up inside of this one box, Shaperbox 3, to just really make your own presets and really make a multi-effect sound inside of this plugin. I mean, you can really carve out exactly what you're going for with this plugin. So that was my top 10. I hope you enjoyed it. These are all the tools that I use on just about a daily basis when it comes to music production, and it's stuff that I can honestly still see myself using in 2023 because a lot of them are very much ahead of their time. So they're gonna be here for a while, so you should definitely check them out. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, if there's any plugins or VSTs that you'd like to see me talk about or bring to this channel, don't forget to leave a comment down below. I'll look into them as soon as I can. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you can stay notified anytime I drop a new video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.